Hello, my name is Brian. I'm going to be your instructor in the second video of the Learning HTML series. So what are we going to cover in this video? We're going to cover how to display text on a screen, what a tag is, a few tags to know, and the basic HTML boilerplate. So let's start with what a tag is. An HTML tag is a special word enclosed by a greater than and less than sign. So an example would be an H1 tag. This is called an H1 tag. So there are two parts to a tag. There is the opening part of the tag and the closing part of the tag, and what's in between. So what is in between these two tags is displayed. These are not displayed. This just denotes to the browser that what's inside of it, should be displayed in a certain way. So you can tell that the closing part of the tag has a slash, and that denotes to the browser that the tag ends there. So what's after the tag should not be displayed as an H1 tag. So again, this would be called an H1 tag. So let's actually go ahead and pop this in the Visual Studio Code. That's what we're going to be using for this course. If you'd like to download Visual Studio Code, you can just search it up, click on the link, and you can just download for Windows, Mac OS, or Linux, whatever you want. I'm sure there's another YouTube video out there for it. So once you have that set up, it's very simple. We're going to just save this and we're going to call this index.html. The .html shows that it is an HTML file. So when you save this, you can immediately tell that we suddenly have these opening and closing brackets. So next we're going to discuss the basic HTML boilerplate and then show you what the H1 tag does. So the basic HTML boilerplate is just doc type in all caps, and then HTML in lowercase. This is just showing that it is HTML5. You don't really have to worry about that. Just know that you should write that down in every project. So then we're going to write HTML. So this is just telling that we're writing HTML. And you notice when you close it, the tag, Visual Studio Code will immediately close it for you using the closing HTML tag. And you can tell that this is a closing tag because it has that backslash or the slash. Then we're going to write head, which we're not going to use in this video, but we will use later on. And then we're going to do body. So this is where all of our text goes. And then inside a body, we're not going to mess with the head tag for right now. That'll be in a later video. We're going to write what we saw in the presentation, H1 tag. You can tell that it closes. And then we're going to write hello, and then we're going to do your name. So my name would be Brian. Then an exclamation mark. So I have it so Visual Studio Code is auto-saved, but you may need to just do Control S or Command S depending on what computer you're using. So we're going to open this file up in the browser, and we do that by just going to our file, wherever it's stored, and then we're going to double-click, and it should be open. So you can tell that the browser sent back hello Brian, which is what we wrote here. So let's just write hello and then your name. So when we come back here and reload, you can tell that it writes hello Brian, but it's not the same as what we had before, as you can see. So this is called an H1 tag. What it does is it pretty much makes the text bigger, and it bolds it, or gives it a bigger font weight, which we'll discuss later. There are 6 levels to the H tag. There is H2. We're just going to copy this 6 times, or 4 more times. 3, 4, 5, 6. There's an H3. And notice how when these tags have to be the same. Notice how I'm writing them in lowercase. They can be uppercase if you want. However, you should make sure that they are generally lowercase because that is the convention. So let's just keep them lowercase for right now. And they generally want to be, so if one's lowercase, you don't want to have the other one be uppercase. So we're going to do an H3, H4, H5, and finally H6. And to compare, we're just going to have the hello Brian text on the bottom. So when we reload, you can tell that this is our H1, as denoted here. There is an H2 tag here, H3, H4, H5, and a tiny H6. And then we have our regular text here. So, as you can tell, the lower the number gets, or the higher the number gets, the smaller the text becomes. So these are called the H1 through H6 tags. Tags. This denotes a special kind of text. And then we have our regular text here. So let's learn another tag. So we learned the H1 through H6 tags. So let's just comment this out, which you can do by just doing Command/ or Control/. And then we are going to enclose this with a paragraph tag, which is denoted as a P in between the greater than, less than symbols. You can tell that nothing changed between our last text. If we get rid of this, you can tell that nothing changed. So that's because whatever we write in here that's not enclosed in a tag is automatically covered as a paragraph tag. It is enclosed in a paragraph tag, even though you can't see it. So when we actually enclose it in a paragraph tag, it results in the same output. So why would you want to use a paragraph tag instead of just writing text? Well, a paragraph tag makes things neater. So if you just had this text and then you had like an H1 tag below it, that'd be kind of confusing. Another thing is when we get into CSS, you can style that paragraph tag in a certain way, but we're not going to cover that right now. Just know that generally you want to cover text in a tag. So far we have learned what an H1 tag is, that there are 6 levels of them, what a paragraph tag is, and the HTML boilerplate. And not only that, we learned what a tag is. So a good resource for learning anything would be W3 Schools. I know a lot of instructors don't like it, but I think it's a great resource. So if you can just go to HTML reference if you ever have a question, and you can type in H1. You can tell that it has H1 to H6 tags, and then as we had before, it shows this. So yeah, generally you want to use H1 to H6 tags only for headings. Use other tags to style them differently. So yeah, pretty much that's all for this video. If you did enjoy the video, please be sure to subscribe and like the video. There's going to be another video coming out shortly. I haven't decided what the topic on that is, but I think it's going to be lists and how to create them.